So there's no point in building our soil organic carbon if we're going to lose it anyway. So I put in this preventing SOC loss to prevent losing your SOC. So let's consider a classic wheat enterprise. So here's a calendar I just pulled off for New South Wales. So say we're going to finish our harvest at the start of December. Essentially, a lot of farmers, they leave the bare ground for all the way up to the next sowing event. And so we're going to have bare ground for all over summer. It's called fallow. It's apparently it's supposed to be used in a way to store water over summer, and so it's about 20% efficient in that sense. So then in about May, we're going to either plow up our soils to get rid of weeds, or we're going to apply pre-emergent herbicide to prevent weeds coming up, or we can apply just a normal herbicide. We're going to plant, and then we might follow that up with another herbicide, some fertiliser, or some pesticides to assist with growing. And then from there, we're going to have effective photosynthesis for about 4 months. And so we're going to have 4 months of effective photosynthesis, or about 1/3 of the year with actual plants growing in that soil. So the negative of this is that we've basically killed all our biology beforehand with some of these. And most of the time we weren't actually growing anything. So, 2/3 of the year, we're not growing anything. So you can see here with what we know now, some opportunities to improve this system. And no wonder we've lost, more than about half of our soil organic carbon in Australia. So before conventional agriculture, soils had about 5% soil organic carbon. So I think it's very achievable that across Australia we can increase our soil organic carbon to 5%. And so there's an opportunity essentially to go from 2.8% to 5% quite easily. And in a lot of cropping enterprises, the soil organic carbon is 1%, so it's pretty low. So how to prevent soil loss? So essentially there's 2 ways to lose it in the first place. That's microbial decomposition. So that's microbes eating the SOC for energy and nutrients. And then as a result, they're going to release carbon dioxide and other compounds. And then there's also oxidation, which is the burning without a flame. This is where our SOC reacts with oxygen and produces carbon dioxide. So these 2 things mostly happen to SOC from the decomposition pathway. So if we want to prevent it, it's pretty difficult to prevent carbon loss from microbial decomposition. If anything, this is a good thing. However, we need to recapture this carbon by having ground cover with living plants so they can recapture that carbon, put it back into our soil. By far the best thing we can do is move to a no-till system. So we want to reduce tillage. This is going to reduce exposure to oxidation. When we tilt, that's going to oxidize our soil. We're going to turn it over, expose it to UV light, which is going to oxidize all our soil and soil organic carbon. It's always good to have the soil covered. This is further going to reduce oxidation from the sun. Having either crop residue or cover crop will protect our soil. We also want to prevent our soil from becoming oxidized. Now, many fertilizers and pesticides and herbicides can oxidize the soil, which is going to oxidize our soil organic carbon. Now, the final way we can prevent SOC loss is building humus through the liquid carbon pathway. This is going to build stable soil organic carbon. Now, even though humus is quite stable, when we plow and when we apply oxidizing chemicals, it's still going to reduce the half-life, or it's still going to reduce the life of our humus. So it might not last for 1,000 years, it might last for 10. So it's still important to build, it's still important to change our strategies so that we can prevent soil loss while also building humus.